Harry's come over the weekend. He's not bringing his Game Boy, but we are going to the France-Ireland rugby match. And James appears to be wearing, I think, an Irish rugby union tie.
Pure coincidence.
Pure
Didn't even realise.
Getting ready for the weekend.
Well, there you go. I'm subconsciously channeling nationalist sporting vibes.
You are starting with Donald Trump's State of the Union speech.
Yes, I am. And, most people on the editorial boards seem to be kind of making the same remarks, that it was all trying to strike unity and kind of somewhat successfully. But did he mean it? That's what a lot of people were kind of trying to figure out.
No one can ever take it at face value, can they?
That's it. So Global News, the Canadian point of view from across the border, they said those scripted words quickly met the reality of a divided Washington. You could picture skeptics wondering, does he believe what he's saying? There was no mention of the crude nicknames he so often levels at his critics, no acknowledgement of his own inflammatory comments that have divided Americans by race, religion or political creed. So they go on. And this, without a tinge of irony, Trump proclaimed that his administration has sought to restore the bonds of trust between our citizens and the government. So clearly Jackson Proskow doesn't necessarily fully buy that. Now, over at the New York Times, you have Frank Bruni writing an opinion piece, and he says Trump pretends to be a statesman, and we're supposed to pretend that hundreds of vulgar and recklessly divisive moments before this, thousands if we're adding in the tweets, don't negate that claim. We're supposed to pretend that he gives a fig about decorum, though it disappears almost as soon as the teleprompter does. So I think this really didn't escape a lot of commentators. Meanwhile, the actual editorial from the editorial board of the New York Times, they said, look, it is hard to believe that the State of the Union is strong, and yet it is indeed strong, as President Trump said on Tuesday, if not for all of the reasons or in all of the ways he claimed. And they go on then in this extract here to talk about America's immigration system was a mess before Trump took office, and they criticise then his equating of immigration with violent crime. In fact, a lot of people dismantled that argument. This tweet alone, I think, is probably enough to dismantle it. If you look at a whole host of incidents that immigrants had no role in whatever, it was US citizens. So
indeed, the whole breakdown on crime statistics shows that it's far less an immigrant problem as an actual people born, raised in America problem.
That's right. Yeah. So he very clearly kind of made a direct link in that speech.
Okay. Unity then, unifying. That's what he was trying to do. But he's one of the most divisive figures in modern US history, isn't he?
That's right. And there's quite a few videos going around online as well showing how divided certainly the Congress was. But Americans seem to be convinced by his speech. 80% of Americans said President Trump was trying to unite the country. So I suppose 80% acknowledged that he was trying to unite the country in that speech. I suppose people could
in his own kind of way,
yes,
that sort of thing.
Well, not
that means anything, that doesn't it?
Well, not necessarily meaning it.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, this is Breitbart here. They give some more statistics. 75% approve of Trump's State of the Union address, and that's not their own statistics. They're again citing CBS News. So the statistics are
Breitbart, of course, the former employee of Steve Bannon, who was at one time Donald Trump's right hand or left hand, right hand man, I suppose we should say, alt-right hand man.
That's exactly it. And whether or not,
of course, he no longer works there anymore.
Well,
but
whether or not
still an alt-right organisation.
That's right, and there
far right
could be some Trump critical voices amongst them nowadays. And another poll by CNN saying 48% had very positive reactions. Anyway, there you go. So we were kind of breaking it down earlier. As journalists weren't impressed, American public seems to have been at least somewhat impressed, but Donald Trump was very impressed, and he spent quite a lot of time clapping, and that didn't escape a lot of people. President Trump spent much of his State of the Union address clapping for himself. Well, that's Paul Ryan clapping for him, and many others clapping as well, but Donald Trump did quite a lot of clapping, and it even gave birth to the hashtag clap for yourself. Well, I suppose if we don't support ourselves in life, who will? Maybe that's what he was thinking. And sometimes you have to encourage yourself, said James Brown voiceover. Hashtag clap for yourself. I can't disagree with the principle. But the Daily News had a spin on it, the New York Daily News. What a load of clap.
That's the headline of the day.
That's the headline of the day. Trump praises himself and touts unity while bashing immigs, which is an interesting shortened version of immigrants.
Indeed. Once again, touting unity whilst being divisive. It's quite a talent.
But we can't criticise somebody for having a positive opinion.
And applauding himself. James, thank you very much indeed. Great to see you.